Hi guys, it's me, and I am here with a glass of grapefruit prosecco to look at the brand new covers to the brand new 70th anniversary James Bond books. I know I'm having a little bit of a disagreement with Ian Fleming Publications because I'm really against the fact they edited the language of these books. However, I think we can get together like adults and look at the new covers and have a discussion about what we think of them. So if that sounds up your street, stay tuned. So hi guys, it's me, and I am here to talk about something quite exciting. It's really up my alley, this one. So Ian Fleming Publications had just announced today, they've just revealed today, the covers for the 70th anniversary James Bond books. So, quick backstory if you weren't aware. The estate of Ian Fleming, so that's Ian Fleming's family, regained the rights to the James Bond books by Ian Fleming in, I think it was November 2022. And so, to mark 70 years since the publication of Casino Royale in 1953, they are releasing, under their own imprint, brand new 70th anniversary editions of the books. And I'm super excited about that because I have been such an advocate for independent publishing and, fighting the traditional publishers, that when I knew that Ian Fleming Publications were going to, be their own independent imprint, that was really exciting to me. That was like, really planting a flag. You had one of the most important literary franchises in modern history going independent. Isn't that cool? Now, my enthusiasm has since tempered a little because I've found out that, it was announced that the estate of Ian Fleming had decided to make certain changes to the words of the James Bond books, which I think is egregious. I mean, that's completely unacceptable. And unfortunately, I think the die is cast. I think this whole debate and the pushback from fans like myself has come too late to stop it actually going ahead. I have no idea who at the estate of Ian Fleming thought that this was a good idea, and I have more videos to come about it, but that is like kind of a deal breaker for me. So I'm not alone in a lot of in the Bond community by thinking that this is a reason why I am not going to purchase the 70th anniversary books. But let's pretend for a second that we're not dealing with that discussion, because we've talked about that a lot. I'm going to talk about it more. Let's just look at the covers, because this is big news. This is exciting. This is fun. This is why we're all here. When I first found out about the 70th anniversary covers, it was actually Terence Lehue from the Suit Up podcast. He sent me a message and was like, "Did you get a load of these?" And then David Zuritsky from the Bond Experience texted me and was like, "Did you get a look at these?" And, I looked at the cover of Casino Royale, and then I looked at the other ones. And I will admit that my first thought was I was a little disappointed. And they always say that, your first thought is what you're programmed to think, and your second thought is what you actually think. So I was initially kind of disappointed, and then I was like, hold on a second, let's think for a second. There are two things here. First of all, everyone's made such a big deal about this being like the 70th anniversary. So I had expected something big. I mean, David Zuritsky did that brilliant video where he said, if you could have the 70th anniversary editions have like the original covers from when they were first published in the 50s, that would be really cool. And I would have been really super excited by that. Or something else along those lines. So I saw these covers initially, and I was just like, those are book covers. Yeah. And I was a bit underwhelmed. The second thing, of course, is the fact that quite frankly, I'm pissed off with Ian Fleming Publications. I'm really upset, and I feel betrayed by the fact that they have decided to edit the James Bond books prior to publication. So I was kind of, my initial lack of excitement was also driven a bit by the fact that I was like, oh, look at these covers. First of all, they screw up the manuscripts, and then they come up with these thoroughly mediocre covers. And I don't quite think that's really fair. So I took a step back and I took a deep breath, and I said to myself, okay, let's imagine for a second that they were publishing the books unedited. The 70th anniversary books were going to be released as God intended, Ian Fleming's actual words, and maybe they swapped in the American edition of Live and Let Die. I'm fine with that. They did it in 2017. He signed off on those changes. I'm okay with that. So let's just imagine for a second that these were the unbuggered about with books. How would I feel about them then? And I have to admit, immediately I was like, oh, okay, I'm feeling a lot more positive about this. And so we've got the covers here. So let's look through. The first one is Casino Royale. And yeah, I don't love it, but I definitely don't hate it. I mean, if you look at the American versions, the American covers for, let's see, I have to look that, I have to look those up for you because they look so bad. Here we go. This is the American edition, which is just, I could have done that in 5 minutes on Photoshop. It just looks terrible. This is not terrible. So this cover, I don't love it because all of the stuff they're doing with the blood and the watercolor effects and things, it almost looks like there's a playing card soaked in blood, dropped in water, which isn't really, to me, the essence of the book. It's more about luxury. There isn't like the blood and the water. I'd almost, Live and Let Die, where Felix Leiter gets eaten by a shark. Then you'd expect blood in the water kind of thing. But I don't hate it. I really don't hate it. It's, very basic scripting with the font. But they've got a playing card, which is, of course, so important. It's the 9 of hearts. So important in the game of Baccarat. With the black 007. I don't hate it. I'm not sure I love it, but I definitely don't hate it. If this was the unedited book, and ironically, Casino Royale doesn't actually have any edits, so this is an unedited book, I would buy this. Don't love it. I would prefer to have a cover that maybe exuded some more luxury. But yeah, this is, effort has been put into this. The American edition, no effort has been put into this whatsoever. Like, that is a terrible, cheap, tacky cover. This is a very nice piece of art, and I like it. Do I think they could have done better? Maybe, but I like this and I respect it. So then they've got the other books. So let's go through each of them in turn. We've got Live and Let Die here. As I said, the blood effect, the blood in the water, I think would be more relevant to the story in Live and Let Die. I mean, the fire and stuff, to be honest, that makes me think of the film more than the book. And specifically the opening sequence where they have all the fire and things with, Paul McCartney's Wings singing Live and Let Die. I don't really love this cover. I really don't love this cover a lot. The Moonraker cover, again, I don't necessarily love it. Which I think one of the reasons is if you go to the American version of Moonraker, it is literally Josh Gay from 007 Oz. He pointed out that this is a rocket that was found on page 1 of stock.adobe.com. So as I said, these are zero effort covers. This one, to a certain extent, maybe I was just thinking about that with the zero effort covers. I was like, it's the same stock image, but it's not. When you look at it, it's actually kind of nicely done with the 007, and you've got the cloud effect. And this is where you can start to see what they're trying to do throughout the books. They do it a bit with Casino Royale here. You can see the card is actually going through the letters to give it kind of like a 3D effect. And then you've got this arc of the rocket and the clouds going through the covers. So I'm like, don't love it. Diamonds Are Forever. I think this, to me, this harkens back to a lot of the previous Bond covers, which have been kind of, they've had one particular image against a background. So it's very much in keeping with past editions of the James Bond books. It's not exciting. I do kind of like the way the Scorpion here has his like claws through to give that 3D effect. We're starting to notice a kind of like brand coming along here. And you'd think, oh, we're doing a book series, so there would be a brand. But it's like, it's not immediately obvious. Don't love this. Don't hate it. Let's go through. From Russia with Love. This is actually, this is nice. This is pretty. And it's kind of relevant from Russia with Love. Again, they're doing this thing with the 3D effect with the 007. That's not so obvious in Dr. No. Dr. No, this is there's a particular type of bird, the oberdon or something. My wife is actually running around at this moment wearing a T-shirt that she got at Gatherall. There was, I'm so sorry. Guy dressed as Hugo Drax, awesome chap, gave us this T-shirt. My wife has like worn it every single week. But this particular type of bird, yeah, to me, doesn't conjure up the Dr. No quite as much. We move on to Goldfinger. That's meant to be a solid block of gold bullion. You can see again the 007 motif throughout is kind of what is meant to create the brand here. And they do some quite interesting and clever things. I do have to admit, I hadn't noticed it now, but the way they've got like shimmering water, I kind of like that. And they've got the 3D effects here. It kind of annoys me that they're messing around with the sizing. It's like it's one of the O's is small here, one of the O's is small here, but they're both small here, and you know they're small in a different direction here. It's the 7 that's small here. I don't like that. I would prefer it if it was consistent throughout, but I can kind of appreciate where they're going. This Goldfinger I think is like the least effort of all of these covers. A few euros only. This is a pretty cover. This is a very pretty cover. The thing that gets me, of course, is, you know, you read James Bond for the excitement and the sex and the danger, and, you know, this is a very pretty cover with a bird on. Also, what are you doing bugging around with the 007? It's like we had the difference in the sizes, that's fine, and then you're moving around with the kerning? No, I don't know if it's called kerning, but where the letters are. Thunderball. Stylistically, I kind of like it. You know, with the water and the bubbles, with the harpoon going through it, I kind of like this. Again, I think the thing to me is if they'd stuck with one concept, it would have worked. I had first thought that maybe with Casino Royale they keep this like watercolor effect, and then they have it like blue for Thunderball, and they have it like yellow for Goldfinger. But instead, they went in very dramatic, different directions. It doesn't feel cohesive as a brand at this point. Then we move on to Spy Who Loved Me. This is my favourite by far and wide. I think this is actually kind of cool. This is kind of clever. To me, you know, you got a motel in upstate New York where you've got the beautiful fir trees, you've got the 50s motels, you've got the neon lights on it. This is clever. I like this. I don't necessarily know if it's the best choice for the cover, but I like this. This was clever. This is good. I also really like the On Her Majesty's Secret Service one. With, look, you got the blood. It's that one scene where the guy's looping over and he falls into the snowblower and he spits out, and James Bond says, he had lots of guts. It's like, I like that one. It has a lot of action. So, there we go. You Only Live Twice. I think it's really pretty. It kind of reminds me of the Fioros Only, but this is more relevant. You've got the Japanese lotus flowers and things, and then you've got that slice from the sword, which gives the 3D effect. So all the way through, they've been quite good at doing the 3D effects. You can see here with the Spy Who Loved Me, they've got the tree fronds in front and behind. They should have done that maybe with Thunderball. I don't know why they did the slice through, but maybe it looked a bit goofy if they were going to try and have that harpoon going 3D through them. The Man with the Golden Gun. I'm not super a fan of this, but I do appreciate the way they've got the snake like coiling through the 007 parts. Octopus in the Living Daylights. That's kind of pretty. I kind of like that one. With a 3D effect. Yeah, it's okay. The ones I really love, I think, I really, really like, maybe not love, The Spy Who Loved Me, On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and I do like You Only Live Twice. I think those are pretty good. And that winds up all of the 007 books. And what I can say is, I really appreciate the effort that went into these. To me, they're not really special. They're not marked like 70th anniversary editions or holy shit, this is the first time ever that Ian Fleming's books are being published by Ian Fleming Publications. They're kind of like, if this had just been a HarperCollins printing out a regular like 5-year update, I'd have been very happy with these. Do think some of them are quite clever. I have to admit, I do think some of them are quite clever. The ones that I have the problem with then are the Diamond Smugglers and Thrilling Cities. They don't have the 007 part to like add the cohesiveness to it, and it looks like something's missing from both of them. To be honest, these two suck. They really do. And I think part of it is they had this very minimalist typeface in there, which matched all of the other books really perfectly, but they all had the 007 part to break it up, and these books don't. So it looks like something is missing. And then you have very generic artwork here, and Thrilling Cities especially. Just like Thrilling Cities is a great title for a book, and you've had some really good covers for this book in the past. And this one, I mean, it's like you got 2 stock photographs. It's like, let's get a jet airliner and let's get a city in light. You can't even tell what city this is. You can barely tell that it's a city. I mean, maybe it's a city, or maybe somebody just sneezed into a glitter box. And then this plane, I mean, is it a 50s plane? I don't even know if it is. And half of it's cropped out. It looks wonky. It looks unsatisfying to me. And I feel the same way about the Diamond Smugglers. So, I mean, that's overall my impressions. But I have to hand it to the estate of Ian Fleming. I mean, you know, these covers, thought went into them, and I can appreciate them, and I think as works of art that are kind of conceptual to the stories, I don't hate them. I don't love them. I really wanted to love them, but part of that was maybe I had like unrealistically high expectations. It was designed by Web and Web Design Limited. So I think Web and Web Design Limited, do they have a website? Let's see. Web and Web on the web. Here we go, Web and Web UK. They've got a website here, and they... Oh, Day of the Triffids by John Wyndham. I'm at the same school as John Wyndham. There we go. Oh, so, you know, I respect what they did with these. I don't necessarily love them. I might have gone in a different direction myself, but they definitely show so much more effort than the American versions. And I like The Spy Who Loved Me. I really respect as a piece of art. So I don't necessarily hate them. I really don't like these two, so I don't necessarily love them. One thing I will say is, and this is the perennial problem that we've got, I'm not going to buy them. I'm not going to buy them because Ian Fleming Publications buggered around with the words. They buggered around with the wording of the books, and I don't think they should have done that. I think they did a bad job of doing it. I think it opens up all sorts of important discussions that we need to have about the sanctity of books. So I'm not going to buy these books, unfortunately, but it's nothing to do with the covers. I think the covers, you know, not necessarily the best job that they could do, but I think it's a very respectable job. I give it 7 out of 10. It's just a real pity that they've let the side down in a major way by editing the books. Anyway, that's my thought. Let me know what you think down in the comments below, whether you agree with me or not, and I'll be back with another video very soon. Cheerio. I'm Roland Hume. I've sold 67,000 copies of my books. If you want to find out how I did it, I've got a link right here you can click. And otherwise, don't forget to subscribe. I've got more videos coming soon. Thank you.